Hello, my name is Sarnam Mark Greenberg. I'm a spiritual healer and teacher in Mount Shasta, California. And today I'm talking about psychic self-defense, a pretty big subject, but we're going to touch on some of the most important areas. Um, Again, not everybody is sensitive to influences that they can't see or touch or hear, but many people are affected by it. Even if they don't believe in it, they may still be having unconscious or subtle feelings in their body that are related to, invisible phenomenon. Let's just call it that. Things that you cannot observe with your eyes or even with scientific equipment. So for sensitive people, for highly sensitive people, for empathic people, they're really used to this. They're picking up on people's emotions that are around them. They feel, if there are chords from other people, uh, you know, even in their workplace and certainly in their intimate relationships. Um, but when it comes to psychics, so that's more in energy hygiene, is maintaining those boundaries and clearing those cords. I just made a video about that. You can look up that. When it comes to psychic self-defense, we're really talking about energies that are malicious or intrusive. So this could either come from another person who has ill wishes or is wishing harm upon you. That happens quite frequently in human society. Humans can be quite vengeful, and even if they aren't taking physical action on on those vengeful thoughts, they're thinking them and they're projecting those thoughts towards whoever is the object of their anger. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just or deserved. It has nothing to do with that. It's just about a person who has picked you as, you might say the victim, the object of their angry thoughts. And if there's intention and angry or malicious or violent thoughts directed towards you, that will often create a cord. Usually the first place you'll notice a cord like that is at the throat chakra. That's a big area where, because our throat chakra is open, we're connecting with people all the time, we're communicating with people. So that's an area that you would usually notice that first. Another area could be at the heart or the gut, in the lower abdomen, at the sacral chakra. Those are the three main areas where you would feel things like that. So sometimes the person, it's just their emotion. It's just their angry emotion directed towards you, but you'll feel hurt by it. If you're a sensitive person, it might feel like almost like darts, or like people even have that expression, like being stabbed in the heart. Anger can feel that way, something hurtful. And on an energetic level, I would say, yes, it is, that those are accurate feelings and that they need to be addressed. If you're feeling something like that at the heart, at the throat, or in the lower abdomen, then you need to bring energy in, just as I've shown in other videos. Open up your crown, bring that divine light in. So you're working with more than just your small human energy. You've got a bigger supply of energy. Bring that in to the area that's affected, and then bring it right out. So bring it in on the in-breath and out on the exhale. So I'm just saying, let's say it's at the heart. So bring it through the heart chakra. So you're feeling like the divine light is pushing out that hurtful energy, that harmful energy. Push it out. And when you feel it, and if you feel like there's a cord behind it, there usually is, then when you feel like it's pushed off your body, ask for direct assistance. Ask for a second beam of light directly from the divine source to address that cord and transmute it to light back to that person. I don't ever recommend taking vengeance on a person, even if they are trying to harm you, but you can ask for the divine source to bless that person, you might say. Bring a column of light down to try to help them, try to enlighten them so they get out of that lower way of thinking, that as if you're the enemy. especially when it's untrue. So that's one thing, just dealing with humans and their malicious, violent, or angry thoughts. If you're in a family, anger comes up, between people who love each other, between parents and children, between partners in a relationship. In a case like that, that is still something you want to clear out of your field. Anger will still hurt you, even if you understand that your partner is motivated, let's say, by some past trauma that they have. Even if you know that it's in your mind, that it's really not about you and you really don't deserve the anger, it will still hurt you. And you still need to push it back out of your field for your own health and well-being. So that's with humans. Then the other thing, and this is where I think psychic self-defense is more of a pertinent issue, is when other astral entities get involved. These are beings, again, science cannot measure them, but they are obviously existing because I have thousands of clients reporting them. These are beings who will attach to lower human emotions. And so, for example, like say with a person who thinks you're their enemy and is directing angry thoughts towards you, there may be an astral being who rides in, you might say, on that angry chord. They're manipulating that person, and they're just using that energy as a way to connect to you. These beings are primarily parasitic, they're draining energy from their host. And so when they ride in, let's say with a person like that who has anger towards you, then their aim really is just to draw energy from you. They're just using the anger of this other person as a way to connect to you. That can also be true for people who are, actively calling on dark beings like that. Like that's what you call an actual curse when someone is really trying to cast some dark energy towards you. In cases like that, there's always an astral being involved. And it's really not the human's energy that is the biggest part of the problem. It's the astral being that is the biggest thing to deal with. So in the process for dealing with those is the same. Even if it's an astral being who seems like a demon or some kind of dark force. I don't generally use those terms demon, but they have been used in religious context. That's because they kind of bring up an image of something very terrifying that is not helpful at all. It's not necessarily how those beings really look on the astral plane. Their form is not as fixed as our form is here in the material world, and they could appear in a variety of ways. Generally, if you're someone who is clairvoyant enough to see things on the astral plane, then they'll try to appear to you in whatever way seems most frightening to you, because their aim is to instill fear in you, because that's what they're attaching to. That's the low vibration that they're feeding on. Most of them. There are other ones that are more sneaky, that are feeding more on guilt and shame, but same thing, things in that vibration range. So you don't. So I'm just mentioning that term because it's sort of a historical or ancestral term that's been used to describe beings like that. And there are terms like that in every culture. They all have had experiences with astral beings that are causing disturbance, causing nightmares, causing this or that. And so, again, the connection oftentimes will be at the throat chakra, especially initially. And you want to use the same process. Bring the divine light in, push the cord off. When you feel the cord released from your body, call for direct assistance, call for a second beam of light to address that cord and transmute it to light all the way back to that being. In the case of an astral being, they're different than humans, and they're not human, and they don't seem to be able to liberate themselves or to evolve in the same way that humans can. And so if you're asking for the divine source to clear that cord all the way back to the demon or the dark astral being, or however you're perceiving that, the parasitic entity, that's usually what I call them, then you can also ask for the divine source, however you relate to that, for the divine presence, however you're connecting to it, to liberate that soul, to actually liberate inside whatever form appears to be so frightening. There's a tiny spark of a soul. Every being that exists has a soul, and these are beings who completely have forgotten that they have such a thing. They're in complete occlusion of it. That's why they're not able to liberate themselves. So you can ask for the divine presence to liberate that soul, free it from that astral form, and take that soul wherever it needs to, and then dissolve the remnants, the aspects of the false astral form, which are really just energy. Every form that exists, even material forms, are some pattern of energy, held in kind of a standing wave. Physicists will tell you this, right? There's your body is made mostly of empty space and a little bit of energy vibrating very quickly, and it gives you the appearance of a form. So it's the same on the astral plane. Their form is made like that too, and so you can just ask for the divine presence to dissolve it back into pure light. That will give you more lasting relief. If you clear the cord, or some people try to cut the cord, that might give you temporary relief, but then that being is just going to try to reattach. So the most effective way is to bring the divine light through, bring it through the throat chakra, clear it off, and ask for the divine presence directly to address that being. Follow the cord right back to it. That being has to open itself in order to connect to you. And so you can use that same cord. You can ask for the divine presence to use that cord to follow it right back to the heart, to the soul of that being, and then ask for the soul to be addressed. That's important to understand, that you always want to connect with the soul and address the soul. That is what's really true about that being. So that's a way to deal with those other kinds of intrusions. That's probably as far as I'm going to go. Now, I know a lot more advanced and specific methods for dealing with different kinds of astral intrusions and astral entities. And you can contact me on my website if you want more help with something specific like that. My website is www.saranam.us, SARANAM.us, not .com, it's .us. And I have a lot more videos there, self-help videos. And yeah, you can also contact me for a free assessment if you're having a particular problem. But those are some basic techniques that you can use just to address those kinds of intrusions. The other thing you want to do, and this is important just for general psychic self-defense and for general hygiene, energy hygiene, is to, once you've connected to that divine light and you're bringing it in through your crown chakra, bring it all the way down your spine, bring it below your feet, and circulate that energy into your outer field, into your outer toroidal fields, around and around, back down through your crown chakra, through your root chakra, up and around. So you're circulating this divine light, this higher frequency of energy into your outer toroidal field. That's a field that extends a few feet from your body. And when you consciously do that, let's say at the beginning of your day, so that you have that energy circulating through your field, then you have better protection, because that's, again, that energy is at a higher frequency. And when lower frequency energies come in, malicious energies or other energies, they're likely to just burn up or dissolve in that higher frequency. It's almost like a screen or a filter that you're creating, but it's not static. It's not like a fear-based shield. It's circulating. You're circulating that divine presence through your body and into your outer field. So that's the last thing I would recommend for general psychic self-defense. And again, for more specific techniques and more specific help with your particular issue, just contact me at my website, www.saranam.us. Okay, many blessings, and thank you for your time. Bye-bye.